All right, this is Ultraviolet Grasslands, session 19. And when last we saw our heroes, we had just gone into the dungeon, the old ruined facility,
Oh yeah.
horrid pines. Um, Talked with the eloquent mole rats for a little bit, and took a poke down to where the grim hamsters level is, and saw some pretty grim stuff, including a bunch of cannibalized hamsters and a giant pit full of zombies? Question mark. Um, so that's
I
cool.
like to think of them as people flowers.
um, Oh yeah, okay. And yeah, we have kind of made a makeshift camp there at the Pines, which is fun. No shitty great folk to deal with, but still kind of in the wilderness a little bit because we haven't really established camp as a like outpost or anything yet. So we're still camping in the wilderness, but we're relatively safe for now. Anything else from last time you remember that you want to bring up?
So there are things that Adoron wants to address based on things that happened last time.
Yeah.
And the first thing is, if I shift into Adoron, I believe that our original idea to create a merchant base here might be optimistic, but I do believe we should help um, the polybody obtain beans and better conversation. So I think we need to keep searching for a good alternative merchant place because this just does not seem to be it. We can stay with the mole rats, but if we were to introduce strangers who might not be civil to their private abode, that's not a good plan.
Yeah, so that's why I thought the plan was to set up our shop like away from the hidden. So it's like basically we still the mole rats, would still be in the vicinity to greet or interact, but not actually no one would know about their domain still.
Yes. My concern is it seems like the wilderness around here is possessive of its territory.
Oh yeah, because we had the running with the laser trees and the extremely rude gerbils.
I I think maybe the idea of using the crystal dome might be worth also exploring to see if that is a better place to set up a merchant base. But that would depend on how things go if we talked to the owner of the upper dome.
Hmm.
That is true. We have no idea what he's going to be, what he or they or it is going to be like.
So while I think we have a good plan to establish trade, I'm not sure where is best to place a base at the moment.
That I see where you're coming from, and that is some um yeah, that is I think that I see the wisdom in your words.
The second thing that I would like to attend to, and Adoram will go over to the mole rats, it has occurred to me, I have had thoughts. Would you mind ever so much if I took one or two of the defensive weapons along the perimeter?
Defensive weapons.
The trees have defensive weapons in them
Oh
that protect the area.
yes, I would not advise. Um, I mean, some have tried. Um, Painful, but We don't fully understand the operation of them. They were here as long as we know. I imagine whoever was here, whether it was me or colleagues, or I shudder to think, whoever set it up here, you know, I wonder if they, you may have noticed things are strange around here. I wonder if they changed to be like that. But yes, they are defensive of the area and themselves. Um, we don't own them. Um, and we generally keep to ourselves in here, and we are capable of defending ourselves. It doesn't matter to us if they're there or not, or maybe we've just become accustomed to them. Either way, you're welcome to do what you want. We're not going to stop you.
Well, I do not want to disable the general defenses of this area because I think that they are usefully effective. But if I could possibly figure out how to gently remove one or two of them, it has occurred to me that I am also possibly structurally amenable to those, and it's possible that I could contain one or two,
Very
and
interesting.
that would improve my survival rate considerably.
Fascinating. Well, you're welcome to experiment and um, use whatever facility you find here to do so.
It is much appreciated. That's basically the business that Adoron had relating to the past.
Cool. Sweet. Let's start off our week like we normally would here in the wilds. Um, we are on, what are we on here? We are on Yellowmonth week 2. Who would like to do our misfortune roll
I'll do it.
and spend
I
some?
love misfortune.
Yeah.
Ooh. I think I was thinking that we were going to go back to Behemoth Shell and like resupply, and I think
Oh.
we neglected to do that.
Are we low on supplies?
We're like out of supplies.
Ah, if you would like to spend 2 days to travel there and get some, you're welcome to do so. It's not a
I think I think that might be prudent. What does the rest of the group think? Unless the mole rats would be willing to sell us some supplies.
um
But then again, I'm not sure if we want to eat what they eat.
yeah, they eat like roots and stuff. You I wonder if those supplies would be enough. Um
I mean, we could forage.
yeah,
I was
you
gonna
could,
say, I know, yeah, I know I can forage for sure with
that
beetle
might be the
wars.
best option if you don't want to go back to the
Got it. It's just that, foraging takes a week, and if it's
Yeah,
2 days there and 2 days back,
we might as well go back.
we might as well just go.
Yeah, I think there's some advantage to going back, and I don't know if there's anything at Behemoth Shell that we can acquire that might help us with our dungeon delving, because dungeon delving is a completely different set of tasks than we're used to doing.
True.
yeah, and they do have basic supplies there. So if there's anything on the equipment list that strikes your fancy for that, feel free to.
Well, give me a moment. I'm gonna just
Nothing.
do a quick perusal of the equipment list, see if there's anything
I should do the same.
that might be useful.
I have it bookmarked with my little. I have
Hmm.
cat bookmarks
Ooh,
because I'm the cat.
nice.
I'm the cat.
That's what all the cats say.
Great goods. Boom. There we are. Physical bookmarks is such a handy thing to have.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like physical books are better for stochastic perusal than digital, but digital have bookmarks. But if you put bookmarks in physical books, you get close.
Hmm.
It's not quite as good because you don't have search, but
I was going to say the other thing about a PDF is you can always hit the search function.
yeah, it's just you can flip through a physical book and it's so much more satisfying. I
Yeah.
have a lot of
Yep.
PDFs, but there's nothing like
Oh,
flipping through a physical
Same.
book.
I mean, absolutely. Just given how many bookshelves I have of gaming books.
Yeah.
That's not just because that's not just because I have a terrible collector's urge.
I forsook all physical media decades ago.
You've become immaterial.
I have nothing, no CDs, no DVDs. I still have the books that I had, but I haven't bought a book in God knows how long.
Wow.
Yeah, I cannot say the same.
So
My
in Warhammer
mostly are.
40,000 terms,
Yeah.
you are one of those elvish creatures from the beyond, which I'm good with. I think the Warhammer humans are just crap, but
So are we foraging or going back to the city for supplies?
we're still looking things up.
Yeah, I'm inclined to go back to I'm inclined to go
Yeah,
back to Behemoth Shell.
Cool.
that seems like the thing to do.
Yeah. We're not in a rush to die.
Yeah. I just lost.
Speak for yourself.
Well, you can go have more conversation with hostile gerbils if you want to die
I'm gonna
quickly.
go have a mosh pit dance party with the zombie pit.
I'm not sure the zombies will kill you, but the gerbils will either kill you or decapitate the crap out of you.
Imagine that.
Actually, the bigger threat for Modan is having to talk to the great people. So
True. That's true. At the Great Folk Shell, you can just spend $5 a week to chill there. But you can also buy supplies for future weeks as well.
yeah, we should get some supplies for the future because we don't know how long this is going to take.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Eh, just looking at the weapons list in Ultraviolet Grasslands, like I'm guessing I can't buy a Redland District submachine gun here.
In the stuff under, I'm just browsing stuff as well, just for fun, because I never have. Under the stuff that's under light armors, if it has hot listed, does that mean it is hot?
I mean, I think give me an example just to be sure.
Oh, like synth skin Enviro suit
Yeah,
says hazmat armor +1, Enviro hot,
It just
one
it just means
stone.
you get hot if you're wearing it in hot weather.
it's like a
Right.
yeah plate.
So that's not like impervious to hot. It means it
No,
is hot.
no.
It means it's hot when you wear it.
Uncomfortable.
So
It
that's
is
a
uncomfortable.
-1.
It is
with that.
uncomfortably warm.
Yeah. Good in winter, but sucks in hot environments. After exertion such as a battle, the hero needs a rest and water. Without such a breather, the hero may become fatigued.
I guess
Right.
like ballistic ones that say cool or the opposite were like, I'd be bad in cold lands,
Yep.
but probably good in hot lands.
Looks good in a hot environment, but a thermal blanket is recommended at night. A note for your other discovery might be ones with the environmental tag as well.
Um, hmm.
What'd you say about the environmental tag?
Of note, if you want to go back to the Dome City at some point.
Oh,
Ooh. Yeah, if one could like acquire those, that would be great. But I'm not sure if Behemoth Shell is the kind of place you could buy them,
What is
or if
that?
there'd be a roll to see if they had them, and if so, how like
Yeah,
what the price differential would be.
yeah. The shell is more of a resort, I guess, but it's not out of the question for sure.
So, as a farming community, do they have any biomechanic gear?
I bet they do. Yeah.
I would like to see if I can get some basic biomechanic tools.
I'm sorry, I just saw something on the equipment list. It just made me laugh.
Oh, what's that?
Under the tool or kits, Farm Boy's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
Backpack with pockets for 5 bonus stones, a pet
Yeah.
rodent, a memento, an heirloom weapon, and a sack's worth of trail mix.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Don't have to
Backpack.
deal with. So what, like all medium armors are bulky. What does that do? I guess I can look it up.
Bulky is
I'm
probably
guessing.
like cumbersome, like it's harder to sneak around in. Yeah,
Mm,
it'll be harder to
Yep,
manage.
cumbersome. Yeah, that says cumbersome, stealthy, and nimble activities are more difficult. So
mm,
he'd either be rolling a disadvantage or there'd be a penalty on it or something like that.
kind of
Okay.
feel like, why the hell haven't I gotten at least nomad robes yet? +1 armor.
Oh,
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Stylish.
I've been walking around with something.
I mean, I
Leather
know
suede suit.
I
Sweet.
know I said I'm wearing robes, but I don't like officially have
Yeah.
a robe in my items.
Right, right.
So if we got a backpack, does that change our carry ability?
It would take up a slot and then probably has the ability to hold stuff in it.
Right.
And I think that it kind of works the same way as like the starter packs does. Like you can pack a bunch of stuff in it, but it's not immediately accessible. So you can carry more, but if you need it quick, you
Right.
need to have it at hand.
Right. Because I mean, I have my traveler kit, which I guess is basically some form
Yeah,
of
yeah.
pack. Um, I would like to get and I don't know what this will cost because I'm not reading from the list. I just saw that they had some biomechanic stuff.
Mhm.
Um, I'm going to add a biomechanical toolkit plus instruction manual. Ugh.
Um,
Is that a reasonable thing?
yeah. Make let me see if I can find. Are you looking at something that might be an equivalent of that? Or I'm gonna do some researching here.
Let me see where I was. Um,
I'm also looking in the SDM book because I think there's stuff like that in there as well.
yeah, I saw something about
Minus.
where did I see it? Maybe it's not that one. Let's see this one. Nope, not that one. Not this one. Nope, not that one. Okay. Okay, go back. I scrolled away from it, it looks like.
Actually, can you just describe what you like what you're looking for in the kit? Maybe I can find something close.
Yeah, so I I have a desire to try and work with these weapon defense systems.
Hmm.
And I I would like something which um and maybe it's really like I probably can't find a biomancer's basic junior biomancer kit, but I figured that a biomechanic kit might be close and that they might have something like that working with farm equipment and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you make me a that's just like charisma roll for luck?
Okay. D20. Okay, roll it. 14.
14. Fantastic. Um, yeah, there's I think they don't sell them there, but there are other travelers staying there that have a caravan and they're like, we heard you were looking for something like this.
Okay,
It's gonna be about 450 cash.
sure.
And it's kind of cobbled together. It's like half mechanics kit, half med kit. It's it's not a proper biomechanical workshop by any means,
Right.
but you should be able to get the job done.
So I'll put biomechanical slash medical toolkit.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
if we go over our 7 slots, that we start getting burdens, is that how it
Yeah, you
works?
can put them in burdens, and burdens are a -1 to each roll for each slot. So
Okay.
you could carry 20 more things if you wanted to.
So yeah, just a -1 to a 20 sider.
Yeah.
Or you can just drop or put one of your things in a caravan or whatever, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Stash it
Yeah.
in the back and not worry about it, or put it in the
Like,
for the put it on the donkey.
yeah, like I did a search for marching staff, which I didn't find any information for other than under traveler descriptions, as you wield the marching staff and the dagger.
Yeah.
What the hell's a marching staff exactly? Is that a weapon or is it just a staff for
I mean, if
walking?
you
I
wanted
think I
to
remember seeing that.
make it a weapon, we could do that. Have a battle stick,
Oh,
I think.
jeez.
And that would be like, I mean, that's basically free. It's a buck, but
Well, no, I mean I have one, so I was actually looking for stuff that I might get rid of because
oh
there's a
yeah,
couple
yeah.
of things there's a couple of things I was thinking of buying if they have them,
Hmm.
but I was thinking of buying two things if they have them because they don't seem too outrageous. I was looking at the wait, where'd it go? Where'd my thingy go? There it is. I was looking at the ballistic linen suit and bulletproof silk vest.
Ooh.
Nice. Gunfire gear.
Just, get a little bit of armor going on, but they're still cool and nimble
Yeah, I've been wearing one of those for a while.
and nice.
Ballistic linen suit and which?
Ballistic linen suit and a bulletproof silk vest, numbers 2 and 4 under light armors.
Yeah. Um,
I'm not sure if they stack, but it
Oh, I
might.
didn't
I
know.
don't
I didn't
know.
know if they. Yeah, that's a good point. I just realized as well when you said that.
but I have nomad robes, and ballistic linen suit for those two numbers. Interesting.
Oh,
Um,
weird.
yeah, I think those are relatively common items you should be able to pick up there, though.
But that is a good question. Is it either or do they stack?
Um, what do you imagine that vest looks like? Do you feel like it's a vest that goes with a suit, or like a tactical vest that goes over it?
I kind of thought it would. I thought it probably went under, so it was. I thought it wasn't an aesthetic thing. I thought that's what's great about it. It's silk, but it's this real strong silk, so it's something that's like
Oh, okay.
unnoticeable underneath your whatever you're wearing.
Yeah,
Is what I figured it was, but that's just purely my.
yeah, I think those could stack.
So basically like a bulletproof vest, but not nearly as bulky and gross. It's like, oh, silky, nice.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so if they have those two, will my Pleasant get me a discount or is that our prices in the book like
That's just for friends. Yeah.
it's like listed prices are just like standard, it's always that price?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I don't have those in my. Are you looking in SDM or the UVG book?
SDM on page
Ah,
75.
there we go. Look at the wrong book.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, there is a battle stick. I think that's what the.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
that's what your. I think that's what your like nomad travel. I think that's probably what your nomad staff was
My
probably.
marching staff.
oh, yeah.
Marching staff.
Bulletproof
That's
and
probably
practice
what it was.
goes on.
Stats as battle stick.
Yeah. Yeah, those totally stack.
Sweet. Well, yeah, if I can, I'll drop 250 on it.
Yeah, do it.
250. So it's, I mean, wait, two, it takes me 1,000, so these are 950.
I do love the heading in the STM or on the Vastlands guidebook of the terrible ranged weapons of the long ago.
Yes. Those might be more difficult to track down, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I want to go buy I don't want to buy a telepathy blaster. That's the
I mean
first one that
that's
my
basically what your radiation gun is. Like that's
Yeah, I was going to say, we just walk over to Moden and say, I want that.
Yeah,
you've got one. Yeah.
trying to decide, what do you think? Should I always be carrying the rope ladder or should I stash that in the caravan and we can always get it out if we need it since that's a 2 slot
Yeah.
item?
You're not gonna need it in an instant, right? You're not gonna be like, well, rope ladder, boom.
I mean, you never know what we
No.
might come up against
Yeah,
when
it's
we're
the sort
away
of thing
from
we
the
probably
cavern.
that's the sort of thing we probably like have on we probably have that on one of the carts. Oh, and speaking of
Except,
carts, I think it might not be a bad idea to get another cart and
Oh,
a
yeah,
draft animal just so that we have more carrying
yeah,
capacity.
you had mentioned that. It's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, those should be easily available at list price.
yeah,
All
I,
right, well,
I wanted to point out that the rope ladder is useful in the thing called a dungeon that we're about to do.
I was thinking about that as well. It's like, because we'll be away from the caravan, so
Yep.
it's not like we could be like, oh, get the rope from the caravan because we'll.
So should we get another pony, a mule, or a camel? So it's a list: pony, mule, or camel.
Yep.
Are there functional
Description:
differences?
the classic solution.
And I think here they are pony, mule, or camel equivalents, and I can definitely
Got it.
do something interesting.
Okay.
Oh,
I
that's good.
mean, if they're all the same, I lean towards camel, but if there's a functional difference, then
Well, Well, how about you just randomize a pack animal that happens to be at the Behemoth Shell, and we see if we're
There
willing
you
to
go.
take it.
Let's see. Um, oh, that's fun. Uh, Appropriate, yeah. They have pack crabs. They're
Yes.
large, like pony size, like coconut crabs that have you can like strap a basket onto the back of them, even ride them if you want.
Can they pull a cart?
They sure can.
Hmm.
So can my toad sit on top of the crab
Your toad can sit on top of the coconut crab. Yep.
while we pull the cart?
What book were you?
Okay, so those are so if they're gonna if it's just the list price for one of those, that's gonna be 70, and another cart is gonna be another 200. So I'm gonna spend 270 out of our caravan funds.
Where were y'all looking for the battle stick or whatever? Because I only ever have the SDM Fastlands guidebook
Oh,
open.
Battlestick is in UVG.
I saw it in hold on, where did I see that?
Should also be there, right?
It's in the Fastlands guidebook,
Under
under melee weapons, page 70.
Oh, okay. So yeah, because the only thing I've bookmarked is the Vastlands Guidebook SDM player copy.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought that was all I needed.
Battlestick.
Um,
Hardwood for hard knocks.
I'm just trying to decide basically if I was going to put something away on the caravan, should I put away my battle stick or my dagger? Either one could possibly be handy and later, but I've never used either of them yet. But of course, famous last. As soon as you put something away, you'll need
Yeah.
it.
Now, Adoron does have a staff, which is basically like a battle stick. So in terms of needing a staff, we have at least one in the
Mhm.
party.
Cool. Well, then
And
I will.
Adoron's staff is flexible because I can reshape it.
Nice. All right. So then if I wanted to put my marching staff away in the caravan, I guess it would have the same stats as a battle stick as far as size and shit.
Yeah.
Battle stick.
Battlestick.
1 stone. So under capacity, I never delved into the caravan tab. When it says like 0 of 6, that's 6 what?
0 of 6 sacks that you can get.
Max.
And there's a sack contains how many stones?
A sack contains 10 stones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, my battle stick is nothing
Yeah.
at 1 stone.
What
So
did
how
we
do you-
call Mark, what did you call the crab? Like a burden crab, beast
Coconut
burden?
crab.
Okay.
So how do we even notate? Like if I put my staff somewhere and it only takes up 1 stone, how are we keeping track of that
Just
stuff?
put it in. Oh, you can put it in the so there's slots for sack 1, 2, 3 down there. So you can throw it in one of those sacks and then just know
Oh, I see.
sack 1 is on this donkey.
I was looking at the 2-wheel cart. I got it.
Yeah.
Sacks 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I just copied the sheet that's in the book. I'm sure there's
Dig
a
it.
better way to keep track of this. I would very much like to streamline the inventory management on this spreadsheet here.
And so like in sack 1, are 4 and 5 both taken up by the scavenger bolter? Is that what the little
I
quotes
believe
mean?
so, yeah.
I'm gonna put my marching staff. Look at me doing things on the caravan tab. I'm a big boy now.
Yes, so we now have cart number 5 and being pulled by our giant coconut crab.
Nice.
Okay, now.
And so I am also going to buy a bunch of supplies.
Side note, the coconut crab's claws are large and banded when you buy it. You have the option to unband them if you like. They're banded like with like big leather straps.
Yep.
Free the crab.
I think it might be best to keep them banded for now.
Well, and if Ipate comes back,
I was gonna say,
Possible
Apate
we
might
may
not
have
agree
a-
with that.
yeah, we may have
Well,
a
if Apate
lady
wants to unband the crab's claws, and if we have to suffer those consequences,
Well, I think it's important to establish communication with it before we unband it is the key element there.
Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure. Maybe it will tell us, please let me free and I will help defend you. We'll be like, all right, you're cool.
Yeah. You could be a crab friend, Modem.
It's
Could be a crab friend.
true.
Spend some XP on that crab, and that could be worth your while.
Love, I do need to use my friends.
It's a tough one because it takes away from your XP,
I
but it's
know. That's
Yeah.
really
that's the
interesting.
problem.
Yeah.
Like I put some into Bashika last time, a couple times actually, but
Yeah.
It's so tempting because the lower levels are so cheap, but every bit counts. So
yeah, I know. It's
That is true. The low
so
levels are
very
cheap.
difficult. Why
Mhm.
can I not paste this note in? God damn it. Note. Insert note. Okay, that works. Weird. Copy that.
One of these days, I need to figure out how to make those 4 sacks of ghost goods
yeah,
tangible
Right.
so that we can actually sell them.
true,
Yeah.
true. What does your linen suit? What does your ballistic suit look like?
I actually think, see, I was thinking it looks somewhat like the picture I have in there, but fancier.
Oh,
Like
nice.
a little nicer. Like instead of like raggedy desert man robes, it's
Mhm.
more almost, like a sort of Jedi Knight-ish, but in white.
Nice.
I'm imagining that Phaedred's looks more or less like the art that I found for Phaedred. It's he's walking around in.
Business
I
cat.
mean, it's I mean, it's not like it's not like he's walking around the wilderness in a in like a two-piece business suit, but
You wouldn't be the only one. That's
I probably wouldn't be the only one. I'm almost imagining it almost looks like I think I almost imagine that it looks sort of like what like one of those stereotypical, I mean, like Sans pith helmet, but kind of like one of the stereotypical
Hmm.
canvas suits that a 19th century quote gentleman explorer might wear.
Right.
So we know what your station is then. Yeah. Adoron mostly favors simple because Adoron doesn't actually wear clothes. Adoron just reshapes his flesh. Well, he has to be able to change his shape and things. He
Oh
has,
yeah, and also we should bump our hero dice up
Your dice back up.
too, right?
Oh yeah, up
yes,
by
Up to our
two.
level.
Yep.
although that's just, you
Yeah. Or up to your level, like I
yeah.
did. Up by one. Okay, I now have entered my bulletproof silk vest and my ballistic linen suit, which I put 3 into armor because of those 2 things,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Nice.
And then I also have half damage on high velocity kinetic attacks.
And your defense should go up automatically according to that.
Oh, cool.
Yep,
Let me
it
see if it
does.
did. I didn't
Nice.
even notice. Let's
Ooh,
see. 0.
good.
Yep, sure did. Put that back in there. 3. Bam. 14.
Yep. Well, you get to be the frontline fighter.
And so basically the way that I don't think we really talked much about armor in the last 18 sessions haven't talked much about combat. The way armor works is so when you are attacked, you basically make a save against that attack, and armor makes that save easier. So you're rolling a 14 or lower instead of an 11 or lower.
Ah, okay.
I believe that's also your agility, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's 10 plus
Yeah,
agility.
it's 10 plus agility plus your armor rating.
Right.
I wrote that down. Oh, look at that little note.
Now, if I wanted to work on some sort of, and I've talked about this before, but if I wanted to develop some sort of flesh as clay combat style to improve, say, my defense or whatever, how would I do that?
Interesting. So, hmm.
Because I can't wear normal armor because it would just restrict me.
Yeah, interesting. maybe you could do like maybe that would be a training thing, and then when you get it, that skill is like a bump to your armor.
Hmm.
Does that sound
Okay.
good?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah, probably be like a +3 to your armor when you get that.
Okay.
since my ballistic linen suit has a secret pocket for a nip, it says. Is that big enough to keep the radiation gun in? I don't know how big the radiation gun is. I know I've been keeping it out of sight.
It's like a inside pocket, so
Yeah.
good.
Like
I
the
think the
flask.
radiation gun is an unsightly bustle.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bulge somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what? If there's since the great folk are fancy, they would be willing to tailor it for you for an extra
Ooh.
An extra what?
50 if you want a tailored inside holster that is smooth and stylish.
Go for it.
Yeah, you know
Go
what? Why
for it.
not? Why not?
Go
Make it
for
happen.
it.
Let's get fancy.
Yeah, just make a note that you have a concealed
I
holster.
will. Secret holster, I'll change it to.
Yeah, with a large blaster in
Totally safe radiation gun.
it.
Totally safe. Totally safe.
Well, that's why I've got hero dice that saved my ass the last time I rolled a one.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and as much as I love to embrace ones, that gun
That's not
one.
that's not one of the ones you want to embrace, firing a radiation gun.
There are situations where I'd be like, okay, let's do it, but not all of
Totally.
them.
Although I was reading again, and it said that you can't use hero dice to get out of those. The ones.
Oh,
So
well, now we know.
whatever stands. I think
Shit.
it might be more dangerous now.
Yeah, that's
Ooh, so
bad.
so if you roll a
That's
one,
bad.
you can't use a hero dice to modify a one.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Ooh,
yeah. I just
well then,
on that note.
that's that has made life much more dangerous.
Yeah,
So technically, I should probably be dead.
Yeah.
several times over probably, but
I know that's the only time I've used a hero die to override a one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I have. I've rolled many a one and used hero dice to mitigate that.
Well, now I'm like, shit, do I need a different weapon?
Yeah, you do, maybe.
I do still have my regular rifle somewhere in the caravan. It should be that was with my starting stuff, but it's kind of lame.
Well, you're only comparing it to an atomic gun. That's not
It's true.
comparison.
Well, yeah, once you've seen the atomic gun, everything seems a little bit lame.
Yeah.
Yeah, that flintlock, that 1850s Brown Bess musket or like Brown Bess rifle doesn't kind of pales in comparison.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever actually put it in the caravan. I don't see it in there, but I know.
the
You
other
said you're going to.
the other interesting thing I noticed there is that D20s always explode.
Oh.
So on a 20, you roll again and add it.
Oh. I didn't realize this was an exploding system.
Yeah, neither did I until last. It says D20s always explode even without an asterisk.
Oh.
Cool.
Traditional rifle is what I started with, but
Yeah.
that got
If you
put
roll a
into the
20, you
caravan.
roll again.
Yeah, page 40 says on a 20, always succeed, double effect or additional thing, and then roll again.
Oh. Oh, so
What does that mean? Does that mean you get like another action or?
It just means that it's because on some tables and stuff, there's
Okay.
26 or higher. And I'm like,
right,
that.
right.
That's how.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just assumed that was just something you had to reach with attributes,
Yeah,
but
same.
if the dice explodes, that's much more helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, so much like my marching staff, it says I started with a traditional rifle, which I don't really see either. But it's in the caravans. I mean, we put it out in caravan ages ago, though I don't think it's actually written. So we should probably add that.
Ranged weapon. There was probably the scavenger bolter. Is probably what you had.
Yeah.
I thought that was something else we had, but
That's like
Yeah.
a traditional, like bolt action rifle.
yeah. See, I feel like we picked that up somewhere, and I started using that in place of my rifle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's actually, I think that's true. There's
Yeah,
there's two guns.
yeah,
There
because
should
I had a
be.
traditional rifle. I replaced it with the scavenger bolter at one point,
Yep.
and then replaced that with the radiation gun.
Yeah. So add another gun somewhere into the caravan.
That's what I was trying to figure out what it was, because again, there's nothing called a traditional rifle other than in the traveler description. So maybe that would be, I mean, it could be another equivalent to it. I don't know what it would be.
I don't
I
know.
don't,
I'd probably give it the same stats regardless.
yeah, I don't see anything else that really fits other than scavenger bolter. Or I don't know. We could just say that is it. We don't necessarily need two scavenger bolters in there, do
Well,
we?
except that having, I don't know, having two guns around is
That's
not
true.
bad. And we know where a bunch of guns are
Sure.
because
All
we
right, we'll
put
put
in
in a
crystals.
scavenger bolter. Now we got two.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just noticed the description for the gentleman's sword cane in the Vastlands guidebook. A short sword in a cane, perfect for traipsing down Portal Avenue or giving ruffians the what ho.
I just find it odd that they would, in the traveler description, say, you have these two items, and then not have those items exist anywhere else in the book.
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. What ho?
Oh, any
Did
other
you
What?
normal
grab supplies as well?
items? Uh I bought 12 sacks of supplies.
Would you like to go ahead and make that misfortune roll then?
Ooh, yes. Let me do it.
Go for it.
10, totally average.
And totally average. Boo-doo-doo-doo. Adoron's caught a nasty cold.
Oh no.
Just means you're sniffling and sneezing for 5 days. And I think
Okay.
it's not like a. I think it's more of like a like you do have the like running and sneezing symptoms. I think it's more of a like full body flush, as if you've that that dungeon's pretty dirty. Um, it's not something that you're familiar with. It feels like you've picked up something mild but unusual.
I just noticed something about hero dice. You can you can spend a hero dice to roll it to regain life.
Yes,
I don't think we've ever done that.
I don't think. Oh, I think you may have at some point earlier on. But
If
yeah,
so, I totally forgot about it.
you can definitely do that. Uh,
Mm.
hero dice. Hero dice. 1d6 can restore one per level just on your roll or regain life. Yep. Cool. Anything else you want to get there?
I keep starting to
Shopping
look.
is so much fun.
Yeah, I keep looking at equipment and then clicking away because I get distracted.
It's easy to do.
Meanwhile, let's see. On that. Hmm. Yeah, and over the course of the week, um, I think you do see uh the outlines of your wolf and carpet friends kind of in the on the agreed border, I think.
Okay.
So like they're still hunting out there, and maybe like how like a dog, like when you're like, don't go in the kitchen, it'll be like, what if I put a paw over? It kind of
Actually,
kind of
Adoron will go and hang out near the edge. Well, actually on their side at some point,
Mhm.
just to see if they want to interact.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
assuming they won't eat me.
they are wary even of you. I think they're still kind of getting used to the idea that um, people are not prey or predator yet.
Right. Okay. I'll just have tea in their general vicinity.
Yeah, they're not hostile at all, but they're just kind of like sniffing from a distance.
Yeah.
Uh,
I wanted to let them know that we are actually responding to,
yeah.
you know.
Ooh. There's an item in the Vastlands guidebook under security and under the miscellaneous items, security and infiltration. It sounds like it might be something that's kind of right up Phaedred's alley. Interface, I'm just going to read it. It's on page 82. Interface gauntlet. Access magic electric devices using their local noosphere ports.
Ooh.
Open biomechanical doors, talk to living machines, joke with radiation ghosts. One stone, 100 cash.
Hmm. That might be trickier to find here, um, but we can try if you're interested.
I am gonna. This is the sort of thing. If I'd known it was there, I would have tried to. If I'd known, if I the player had known about it, I'd have tried to pick one up earlier.
Yeah.
Known it existed.
Yeah,
I'd
the
known
last
it
Sarai would
existed,
be
I
a
would have
good
tried to
place
buy it
for
at
it.
last Sarai or
Yeah.
Porcelain Citadel.
Yeah. Well, give me a charisma roll for luck.
Make a charisma roll. Okay, I can do that. What is my charisma?
2.
My charisma is at 2. Okay. So where did I put the dice roller? There is the dice roller. I'm going to roll a d20 and I'm going to add 2 to it. Oh dear. No, no, no.
So
Glad I wasn't
Oh,
firing the radiation gun.
yeah, we use that one up. So you're looking for that infiltration kit.
uh-oh.
Ooh, I find one.
It's who you find.
Oh, I find one. It just, totally doesn't work the way I want.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
it's like you buy the you buy it's like in D&D. You find you're
Mhm.
looking you're trying to find the gauntlet. You're trying to find you think you buy the gauntlets of ogre power and you buy the gauntlets of fumbling instead or something like
The
that.
cursed gauntlets that you can't get rid of.
Um, so again, this is another traveler. And
I was going to say if you hadn't found the rule about like adding a hero die, I would definitely add a hero die here.
um, their name is Seeker Nebodari. And they are actually an emissary from let me get that.
Seeker Nebadari.
Seeker Nebodari. Um they are an emissary from which one is that? The That's got a cool name. What's it called? Oh, there it is. They're an emissary from the Endless Houses,
Ooh.
which are far, far west. They are unnerving. They have like a you would swear that it was a satrap suit, um, like dark, like gunmetal, silver black. But it looks like it has been altered. They are clearly not a satrap. And
I take it they've got the helmet, but like the faceplate's open.
no,
No.
no helmet. Just that, like they've taken the material of a satrap suit and made their own outfit out of it. They have like the flat black eyes, shaved head, cool tattoos down, and does is very distracted when you talk to them. Um, um, and it takes a little bit to get their attention. It seems like they are occupied with something else while they're talking to you. Um, he is there with a caravan, and he has been hired by them for protection. They don't carry any weapons that you can see. They are, staying by themselves, separate from the caravan that they are protecting while they're off doing whatever. And they when you ask for that the gauntlet or whatever it's called, the interface gauntlet, uh, it almost looks like they're accessing something. They like look off in the distance, and it seems like they're concentrating. Um, yeah, and they say that can be acquired.
Okay.
And seems to look you up and down. This will. I don't have need of your money. You have
Are you looking to trade?
abilities I could make use of.
I'm not sure as I follow.
And he looks, it's hard to tell where he's focusing because of the black eyes. It looks like he's almost looking into your skull. You get that sort of like tickle feeling in the back of your head. Um, Almost as if he's like rooting around in there a little bit.
Oh, that ain't good.
And he says, grant me your dream and you shall have it.
Grant you my. I'm sorry, what?
The orange dream. I would find it
Um,
in my occupation.
I'd be happy to teach that to you. Um, but I kind of need that. I think I'll, well, thank you. Yeah, thank you. You know, I appreciate the offer. I think that price is a little more than I'm willing to pay, my good sir.
This is no ordinary item you're asking for. I
All
have
right.
ordinary price for it.
I guess I didn't realize I guess I didn't realize what sort of bargain you were searching for, and for that I sincerely apologize. I'm very, very sorry if I wasted your time, sir.
You're traveling west, Phaedred Ruthani.
Yes, yes, I am.
What do you seek there?
Well, sir, I'll be honest. Um, we are seeking opportunities far west. Ultimately, we wish to get to the Black City. I represent a company back in the Rainbow Lens. We are looking for new markets to sell our Magitech, and that may be a place where we are hoping that might be a place we could make an inroad.
This item you ask for will serve you well. I see. And for the first time since interacting with him, he seems to be shocked and recoil a little bit and composes himself and smiles. Says, you seek to speak with those far above your station. I do not believe you are equipped to do so.
Ah, um,
Or
and I
soul
think,
will be blasted from your body if you proceed on your current path.
out of character. Could you repeat that, Mark? I didn't quite hear what you said.
He says your soul will be blasted from your body if you continue your current path without my aid.
I think Phaedred I think Phaedred's trying to play it cool, but I think a certain amount of fear does I think it's pretty cool that I think it's pretty clear that Phaedred is more than a little unnerved with it at this conversation, and he nods and he replies, "I'm I think, sir." I am going to stay with the devil I know rather than the devil I don't.
Your friend is not a devil, but he speaks with. You will do what you want. I will be here if you change your mind for a short time.
I thank you for your time, and I do apologize if I wasted it.
Time is
And
not
thank you,
wasted.
and I do thank you, and I do appreciate your advice. I will take it to heart.
You will not.
I raise an eyebrow at that, and bid him good day.
All right.
Well, that was more than a little. That was a little more than a little unnerving.
I'm surprised there are people who are capable of scaring advertising executives.
Y'all have the week to do what you want. You can. There's not really more discoveries to find. Market research. You could do some carousing if you want. You can
I,
do some foraging. Do some care for yourself.
I'm
Study.
I'm gonna try to I'm gonna go back to after that like oh so pleasant conversation with Mr. Weirdo from Far West. I think I'm going to like take some quiet evenings and like study my Rosetta Stone and try to learn language and hope I roll better.
All right. Are you on your last step for that?
No,
No. Great, great.
no, I'm only at one of three.
Cool. Yeah, I think the last step is going to be more difficult, but this one should be a straight shot. So,
Okay.
do your roll.
So this is plus thought.
Plus thought, yes.
And I believe keep having to click away. My thought is a 2. So where's the dice roller? There it is. That is a 13.
That's a 13. Fantastic. You get one step closer to that. What does that look like?
Um, yeah, I think it's just a matter of I think the montage scene we see is, like Phaedred looking at, like looking through like the journals that like the looking through that journal that um that we copied from that stela.
Mhm.
And I think he's got a separate journal that he's like writing notes in. And I think, maybe he's got, some other documents that are written in like modern documents that are written in like various other languages. And he's, he's like trying to use the Rosetta Stone document to try to like translate this and is in the process of, like learning how these other languages work.
Yeah. And I think this time, for some reason, looking at it, the Black City alphabet clicks much more easily than the others.
Okay.
You're not sure why, but there's something about it.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
What about Moden and Adoron? Anything you'd like to do this week? Anyone need any healing or?
Oh, I finally took care of that the last week.
Looks pretty good.
Um,
You can
And
study, you can forage, you can carouse, you can haggle.
I'm full on traits as well before I start taking up. Does it have to when you study? That would have to be a new trait, right? You can't study for something you've already got, right?
Right. Oh, well, if you, oh, that's a really interesting question. So, um, I think if you would like, you can study something that you are skilled or expert in. It's just going to be more difficult and or require weirder stuff. Moden, you still got 2 slots left, right?
Just For traits and skills, it shows 7.
Yeah, and you've got a aura of or a thought of 2, right?
I got a what?
So you
Thought of 2.
yeah, so those slots that are not grayed out.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can learn up to 9. Yeah, you can have up to 9 skills
okay.
without being burdened by them.
Yeah,
I
it's
just saw the +1 and thought it was the same as items, where that just started becoming a burden or
Nope.
whatever.
that's the plus 1 you get from your thought. And
Oh,
if I
okay.
change your thought to 3, you get an extra slot. Look at that.
Oh, neato.
So yeah, so when you level up, if you raise your thought, you can slot extra things in there.
That's good to know. Now I got to figure out what the hell would I want to learn? That's so the next question.
And same thing with your inventory and strength. If you up your strength, your inventory is up.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh yeah, and the little mouse over for traits and skills says maximum 7 plus thoughts. Items maximum 7 plus
Oh
strength.
yeah, look at that shit.
There you go. Yeah. Any inklings for what you'd like to do there?
I mean, I know he's always been really interested in Phaedred's magic, but I don't really know how you start with that or exactly.
Hmm.
He likes that spell stuff. It's really cool.
I mean, Phaedred is your friend, right?
Yeah.
To teach you.
Maybe he has a particular bean that he likes especially, and you could make him bean cakes.
But I figured that would probably require both of us to take the week, right? Like I couldn't take the week if he uses his week for something else.
Yeah.
So,
You could try and track down a wizard here. I mean, they're not uncommon. I bet Phaedred knows one, in fact.
I did just meet one. Don't know if you want to study with him. He's real freaking creepy.
Totally normal guy.
Did you mention that conversation, Phaedred?
I think I probably would eventually.
Okay.
That I had an unnerving that I had I got a lead that someone had an item that they might be willing to part with. I had a conversation with them, and the price they were asking was far higher than what I was willing to pay. And let's just say it wasn't money.
What kind of things are not money? Did they want beans?
I could feel him probing my mind, and he wanted to take something from my mind. And I didn't, and I asked him not to.
It is bad to lose things from your mind. That happened to me, and and I regret this quite a bit.
Maybe I think I'm inspired by having that secret pocket tailored. And I noticed under Traveler, there is a trait called Pocket Master.
Ooh,
You can
Pocket
cons
Master.
you can conceal a number of small objects equal to your level for free, ignoring inventory. A knife is small. So I think like this whole process of like trying to figure out how to hide the gun and then having it tailored, I was like, man, that'd be really cool if I could hide more stuff in these rows.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna start studying Pocket Master.
Yeah, and you can learn from your tailor, in fact.
Yeah.
Umberto.
Like, this is really interesting, Umberto. Teach teach me the ways of pocket mastering.
Um, and he's a representative or a member of the of the Tailors Guild, which is spans the civilized Basslands, right? Um, and he is unlike a lot of the great folks. He is actually very charming and charismatic, but doesn't seem to recognize that he is, and maybe that's part of their charm, right?
Hmm.
They're like very, very smooth and casual and complimentary and stuff, but it doesn't feel like they're doing it on purpose. It doesn't feel like they're even, like, oh, like people like me and I don't know why. It's just not, it's just weird. Um, yeah, so actually, like one of the great folk here that is tolerable to be around. Um, I need to look up what a word means. um, oh, interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah, and he actually, you know, upon meeting him, you could have sworn he was possibly with a caravan, because there are like he has many admirers among the great folk, and his shop is constantly full of people who act way too familiar with him, like the way the great folk are, how they are so self-centered and obnoxious and only out for their own thing.
Oh boy, do I.
It feels like a lot of them are drawn in by his charm, but it is perverted by them, and they are trying to like basically manipulate him to get stuff for free or get him to do favors for them or make him like them more. It's super gross to be around, but he just seems to be kind of gliding through it. He doesn't seem to be affected by it at all. And he would be more than happy to help you learn the craft. Um, yeah, make yourself a thought roll.
Thought rolling against the thought, yeah. So it's a D20 plus 2, right? That's how that works.
What was the Taylor guy's name again? By the way, I'm going to put him to add him to the
Um,
NPC sheet.
His name is Umberto. Umberto, do I have a last name? And let me type it. A S-A-C.
The hell, I'm pressing roll it and it's not rolling it.
Umberto Isaker.
Are y'all not seeing my rolls, are you? My roll.
Not seeing.
No,
Nope.
Let me refresh the page, see if that works. I'm clicking roll roll it and nothing's happened. There we
sometimes it
go.
gets sometimes it gets
12.
stuck.
12. Fantastic. Yep. One out of three in tailoring.
Woohoo! Or in Pocket Master.
The Pocket Master. Yes. Yeah.
Pocket Master. I shall master the pockets.
It has pockets.
You're going to end up being the traveling bean merchant gunfighter of the Ultraviolet Grasslands. And here I pull out my handy bean scales, 12 samples from my pocket. Oh, and there's my blaster. So don't mess with me.
That's right.
It's time for a flight of beans.
Yeah, flight of beans.
Like 5 little plates.
Yep.
That's right.
Adoron, anything you'd like to get up to this week?
Yes, so Adoron has decided it's time to learn a new skill on top of all the others that Adoron is trying to learn. Because life should be complicated. And Adoron is going to try to learn how to use the biomechanical toolkit that they just bought.
Oh, fantastic. Is there a particular skill that you are looking for?
I'm not sure. Is that a biomancy thing? Is that
It's biomancy. Yeah. And I think you can definitely pick up the basics here.
okay.
Your second and third one might require
Yeah.
from an actual biomancer. But with the manual and the person who's selling it to you kind of like pointing out the bits and pieces, you can definitely try and pick up the first level there. Give me that thought roll.
Yeah.
Everyone's just good students.
Yeah, we'll see. 13.
13. Yep, cool. 1 out of 3. There you go.
Yep. dangerously low, though.
Who is in session at the shell?
I also need to remember I've still got that blessing bead, which I believe just lets me auto succeed on a roll, right?
Yeah, that's right. You do.
Yep.
So I remember I have that.
Oh, that's true. Oh, that might
Ten-
be that might be the thing to save you from
Oh,
opponent.
yeah. That's the one to keep in your pocket.
Yep, yep,
But
yep.
would I, question about that, like now that we know about the heroes, I think, would I have to, can you use that retroactively or do you have to declare before you
Yeah, no, I
roll?
think you can use it to make that roll happen.
Okay, so I'm like, if I rolled a one, I could use it. I don't have to go, I'm using my blessing bead to make this succeed.
Yeah, no, definitely see it do that.
Like,
Good point.
Yeah, I think magic beads are do what they say.
well, I didn't know if it was just more like, hey, I use this bead to make sure this shot hits before I even roll it, or if
Right.
it was after the fact or not.
Um, with the travel back to the shell, that puts us at our extra days. So we're gonna spend another week at supplies, and we're gonna roll another misfortune.
Yay. Who am I doing that or somebody else doing that?
Somebody else should.
Okay. I love misfortune. Of course, I'm
Oh, okay.
cold at the moment.
I can roll the misfortune. I rolled a 3. I'm not rolling well tonight.
3 on our misfortune. Whew. Yeah. Are you all mostly staying in the shell, or are you kind of like tootling around outside as well?
I mean, I'm probably, I mean, I think I'm mostly spending inside, but it's a little boring, so he probably goes out and takes a walk and does a little exploring here and there.
Everyone's studying as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
Yeah,
was studying Pocket Master, so I thought I
Yeah.
probably stayed mostly in the shell,
mostly
the shop.
inside.
Adoron definitely goes outside a fair amount.
Hmm.
So if you want to inflict it on somebody, Adoron's volunteering.
It's going to be on everyone,
Uh,
and Heath knows this for sure. Um, when cedar trees release pollen, it is often in a big yellow cloud.
Yeah,
It is super bad, and
do not like.
I think it's a seasonal thing here. The hills with the pines and the cedars and all that. They occasionally this sort of yellow cloud rolls over the forest.
It's the pollinating.
It is the pollinating, and basically, like this is just weather for the folks here who know it, and it's gonna put everyone to sleep for 1d3 days.
oh,
Not wearing protective gear. I think that includes you. So, would you like to roll a d6 and cut it in half for me?
are you saying Adoron or are you saying
Whoever would like to.
I'll do it?
Or
Or do you want to do it, Mike?
Are we each
sure, I'll
doing
do
it, or
it.
is it just one roll for all of us?
Just one roll for
Oh,
everyone.
okay.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I'll do it. I rolled a 3. I rolled a 4, so we lose 2 more days.
Yeah, you fall asleep for 2 days, as do most of the other inhabitants of the shell. Yeah, fantastic.
Oh man, I'm groggy.
So I would like Adoron to have been sipping tea out on the edge of the forest and falls asleep with their tea out on the edge.
Love it.
I don't know if that's dangerous or not, but the tea will protect me.
Let's see. I got 5 of that, which means
My nose feels all crusty. It's full of boogers.
Yeah.
um yeah, I think Adoran, you awake to like a crunching noise, and I think nearby, as you awake, there's a small herd of kind of like cat-sized snails that are just kind of noisily munching away on like moss nearby.
Hmm. Uh, Do they, I mean, they don't seem to be hostile to me.
Now they're peacefully grazing.
Um, eh, Adoron will, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to change their food habits. If Adoron gently touches one, how do they react?
The ice stalks curl up and it pulls in.
Oh, okay, just sort of like
Yeah,
snails.
it's regular snails, like big.
Um, do they leave slime trails?
They do, yeah.
Adoron will sort of like to follow the slime trails to see other interesting places they've been.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they just kind of around the local area. You probably they live under rocks and logs and stuff, and they're not a gang, so they're all just kind of you can
Right.
trails back to wherever they slept last, basically.
And this is just Adoron who sees these?
Yeah, because you're just I
Yeah.
think you woke up in the woods, and they're just kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they probably wouldn't have come up to you if you were awake and moving around, but since you
Yeah.
be inert.
Yeah. I mean, Adoron will spend some time learning about them and then go back to the Behemoth Shell.
Nice. Um, cool. Let's go ahead and take a little break. Let's do till quarter two, I think. We'll come
Cool.
back and see what we do next.
All right.
So, what are we up to next?
Um, do we want to head back to at this point, now that we've gotten our supplies, we've spent a week doing stuff, do we want to head back to the mole rats and explore the dungeon more, or would we rather do something else? I'm okay with doing some dungeon delving. We haven't really done a lot of dungeon delving in this campaign.
Oh, actually, before we do that, Adoron,
Yeah.
can I get you to roll aura for me?
Uh-huh. 17.
Ooh, 17. Nice. Where are my notes? 17. Nice. The As you're doing your experimentation and kind of the tutorial level of your biomancy practice, um, you feel the that pull again from the voice of the rebuilder. Do you acknowledge it or try to like push it down?
Adoron's always very interested in it, so they um, are not trying to block it out.
Yeah. Um, the the garbled voices, like words do come through every now and then. Um, they feel like they're getting more urgent. Um, Still punctuated by screams every now and then. Um, you get flashes of it's less of a visual thing and more of a feeling as there's maybe it feels as if when you're connected to the rebuilder, your kind of your personality, I guess, is being stripped away a little bit. Um, and I think that resonates with you because of your history a little bit more.
Hmm.
And I think in the last kind of burst you get of that feeling, you actually see the face of a porcelain prince,
Oh,
who I do not believe that you met. Um, Yeah, with like a opal mask. And there's yeah, I think it's just a flash of their face.
Hmm. After meditating some, Adoron would go to Modan and Phaedred
Mhm.
and say, the voices of the rebuilder have become agitated again, but I had a sense of something. Is there a porcelain prince with an, you said ebony or
Opal.
opal, with an opal mask?
Yeah, and the way that Adoron describes it, I forget who talked with Angel 22 Unity, the one who runs the Porcelain Prince section of the Lacerai. They're the ones that are in charge of everything.
Ronan did, or
But
no?
yeah, one of you did.
Hmm.
But yeah, it is a description of the Porcelain Prince leader of the highest ranking Porcelain Prince at the Lacerai.
This is not an individual who I am familiar with, but why would their voices be in the Green Tower's awareness? You are all very uncharacteristically quiet.
It's really coming to me as a player.
Why would there be what? What's the question again?
The I had a sense of someone who you've met before, apparently, this porcelain prince who is the representative at the Les Sarai. Why would they be in the dreams or the consciousness of the Green Tower entity?
uh, to make sure to clarify, it's the ignored tower. It's not the same tower as the one that you
Hmm.
gated through, right?
Right. Yeah, the ignored tower.
Not the Waystone.
That's disturbing. You're sure it's the one who was the our representative at the last Sarai?
You only saw their face, not their surroundings, so it could be someone else.
What does concern me is that is the individual to whom we gave a sample of that
Hmm.
Mhm.
silver goo.
Glad you remember such things.
We were rewarded handsomely for it, and we assumed that they wanted it for research and for defensive purposes, but maybe that stuff isn't something that anybody should have.
I feel that perhaps there are webs in the background of the world that we are not aware of.
Oh, that's certain.
And you sold some to the satraps as well.
Yeah, we sold some to the satraps and we sold some to the porcelain princes.
Hmm.
Balance of power.
Yeah, always works out great.
It is something to consider. I wonder, and this is no disrespect on our gentle selves, but is it possible that we are starting to get in over our heads?
Well,
I think that defines most of our existence in the grasslands.
I mean, that fellow I spoke with the other day clearly thought that not only was his opinion that we were in over our heads, that he was certain that, I mean, he flat out told me that if I were to continue to go toward the Black City, that something would cause my soul to be ripped from my body. I do not intend to, I don't necessarily think that he is gifted with prophecy, but I'm just planning to be extra wary.
To be precise, he said, if you continue on your current path.
Hmm, I wonder.
I will say the context, he saw something in one of my memories that caused him to take a step back and did not tell me precisely what it was.
I have a question then. How would you feel if you introduced him to me, or me to him, is perhaps more the point. Is this to our advantage or disadvantage?
If you would like to talk to him, I'm happy to set up a meeting.
I am
What
terrified, to be honest, but
what are you hoping to find from him? He does seem to be able to probe one's mind.
Mm.
I actually have no intention. I am more curious to see what he observes.
I would be happy to. I'd be happy. I would be happy. He said he would be willing to meet with me again to, either discuss what I sought last time or something else entirely. If you would like to accompany me, I could simply introduce you and say that what was his name? Out of character.
His
Seeker Nebadari. Mr. Nebadari, I will simply say that this is a traveling. I will introduce you as as a friend and traveling companion of mine who was intrigued when I told you of when I told my friend. You were intrigued when I told you of our meeting of my encounter with Mr. Nebadari and was hoping to meet his acquaintance.
This
Does
seems
that
accurate.
does that sound does that sound like a plan?
I do not know if it is a plan. I do not know if it is wise, but it is accurate.
Right then. Um,
Modem, would you like to accompany us to have uh, your mind probed?
I don't know about the second part, but I think
I
it's probably wise for me to be there as well.
Yes, I thought I was merely I thought I was merely going to do some trading and well, I guess I was, but I wasn't quite sure what to I didn't I walked in there not quite understanding what they would want and what Mr. Nebadari would want in payment. Did not want
Very
to
well.
give up I did not want to give up some of my memories or ability to perform a uh, uh, Magio resilient ritual.
That does seem a steep cost, and memories are not, there is a word, yes, vexing. They are vexing to lose.
Mhm.
Once you lose them, you really can't get them back.
That's not what I've heard. I've heard that with the proper technical equipment, one can have one's memory restored. But then my
Is it was
source,
it was it really yours to begin with?
well, in my case, no, because my memories are borrowed. I don't know about yours.
Fair enough. Hadn't really thought about it from that angle before. Shall we go and see if Mr. Nebadari if his caravan is still here?
Yeah, I think they're still here. It's not been too long. Um, yeah, Seeker is their room is sparse but tidy. They are there, and they welcome Phaedred in, and like you have reconsidered.
To be honest, sir, no. However, when I told my traveling companions of our conversation, um, my friend Adoron was intrigued and was hoping to meet your acquaintance.
His face gets very serious. Adoron, can I get a charisma roll from you?
13.
13. Cool. Um, he says you've brought them here.
Them?
Why?
Uh,
Oh, because you are aware of them.
And he will not look at you. He will avoid not only eye contact, but like he tries to not see you at all.
If it is an unpleasant or undesired interaction, I shall retreat. I am not here to cause distress.
And he doesn't look, upset or scared or concerned. He's just like as a matter of fact, like you wouldn't stare into the sun. Just like I'm not going to look there.
Mhm.
Um, and he says, I merely value my life.
Which is a wise and well-considered course. Shall we retreat and leave you to your peace, as it were?
What are you seeking?
You know of them in a different capacity than most. And
Builder, yes. They bring only death.
this has been my experience, and but my hope is that might change.
How?
Most beings have a set of their own personal needs, and when those needs are not met, the beings are in distress. It is my perception that the rebuilder is in distress, and sadly, as consequence, others partake of their distress.
You are correct.
I realize that I am a bat lion in the gaze of the sun in this instance, but the bat lion has caught the attention of the sun, and I wonder if I might affect the sun's mood.
I do not know of any who would even try. But, and you almost feel like if your mind was an Olympic-sized swimming pool, someone just dipped their pinky toe into it.
Mm-hmm.
And his face goes blank for a moment, as if he's like considering how to phrase what he's. And I think he just says, She is waiting for you, but it will mean all of your deaths.
Is it possible that if I go alone, that I will be the only one sacrificed?
If the others do not follow, yes. But it is not a sacrifice, it is oblivion. There's a sacrifice implies there's something to be gained. And he like turns to look at you and like winces as if he expects to be struck.
I can only do as my nature determines, and if it is to be consumed by oblivion, then such I will do.
I know.
Thank you
Forgive me
for
for
your words.
interjecting. Oh, I'm sorry. Like I'll wait till there's a Phaedred waits until there's a pause in this conversation such that he's pretty sure both parties are just mostly done talking and are still continuing to kind of like size each other up. And forgive the interjection. I'm I feel like I am at a disadvantage. I know my friend was contacted by some kind of powerful entity. I don't know the nature of this entity, and I'm not even sure my friend does, but you seem to have much more of a concept of it. And from your reaction, I think from your reaction, it sounds like we should be very, very frightened.
One moment, please. And Adoron walks out of the room.
Are you walking out to let them converse without you, or
I am walking out to let them converse without the proximity of the rebuilder.
got it, got it.
And I'll go far away.
Yeah. So say again what you just said.
I basically said, um, I forget what my character actually said, but out of character, basically, Phaedred says that it is clear from observation that his friend Adoron, who was a bit of a blank slate when we found him, was somehow contacted by, connected with some kind of powerful mental entity that calls itself the Rebuilder. I haven't been able to figure out who or what this thing is, other than it's very powerful, and it's my guess is from your reaction, you are more familiar with this. I'm hoping you might be able to share some information about who this entity is, what it represents, and what specifically we need to be afraid of.
This knowledge is both all too common and known only to the deepest delvers of the mind. She is responsible for the deaths of thousands, and you and your friend are likely to be among them if you go back. I can tell you more, but I urge you to reconsider our deal.
To be plain about our deal, it would be for the technical interface in exchange for my knowledge of that particular spell.
Yes.
Is will it be pulled from me? Will I lose access to it?
You will not feel pain, but yes.
Would I be able to relearn it the way I learned it the first time, or I'm not going to be able to have access to that at all?
Cannot say.
And you feel that, and it is your opinion that this trade would be beneficial to me.
It would be beneficial to all of you.
How so? That particular spell has saved our lives on multiple occasions, and the thought of losing it seems like an awfully high price to pay.
It is a high price. And this item that you seek, you will not be able to find anywhere else. It is unique.
What is this item you seek, Phaedred?
You asked for an interface gauntlet.
Yes,
You
I had asked for an interface gauntlet, which is
this is more than the standard.
it is a not uncommon item.
Yep.
It sounds like what he's offering is something way better. And I will actually specifically say, like, look, I was seeking as you know, as I was seeking a standard model, you know, I was seeking a standard model like 3x 29 indigo interface gauntlet that I could back in the Decapolis where I'm from, they were not difficult to come by. That's all I was looking for. Sounds like what you're offering is something very different.
You have not traveled as far west as I have.
No, this is indeed as far west as I have been.
If you wish to return to the Decapolis and purchase one, that is a wiser choice than what I see you planning to do.
And the object you are offering is more than a standard interface gauntlet?
Yes. It's still a foolish path that you pursue, but this may give you some chance of survival.
What path is it you refer to that we pursue? We tend to be like leaves on the wind and follow wherever the whims take us. What?
The winds have blown you into the circles of two very, very powerful demiurges. Those who at one time would be responsible for the creation of this world, who have, for various reasons, either retreated or been confined. They can make and unmake the world with a thought, and your friend has a direct conduit to one of them.
One of these is the Rebuilder. I let me step out of character here. Do I know what the other entity he's talking about?
I mean, it might be the thing in the dome. It's the only other entity that's been on par, even a little bit with Rebuilder.
Got it. Would be the thing in the dome that we okay.
Yeah.
And what do we know about the Rebuilder?
Very little.
Very little.
Okay,
that's
it's
kind of
not
what I
just
was.
me. Okay,
And that's why I was asking for more info about the Rebuilder.
Yep. Yeah, out of character, he will spill everything if you make the trade.
I'm gonna make the trade.
Great. He has he pulls out a flat matte black box, and you'll make some motion across the top and slide the top off. Inside is a gauntlet for sure, and it could be recognized as an interface gauntlet. It is black, shiny but pliable, and you don't see. I think regular interface gauntlets have some sort of like mechanical connection you can use. You do not see that on this. But I think your wizard sense definitely tells you this is
This
uh,
is an item of power.
yeah, advanced magitech. Right.
Like
Yeah.
before I actually go through and make the trade, I will ask, like, before I will ask, may I, before I commit to this, can I, you know can I examine this to make sure it's, you
You
know
can examine it, but do not put it on.
I will not put it on. Um yeah, basically I'm going to try to I'm going to basically try to use my basically I want to use my, like, wizard abilities
Yeah.
to
Identify
basically, yeah,
item.
I'm going to use like, hey, I am an expert wizard,
Yeah.
trained at the Decapolitan College of Magitech.
Give me a thought plus wizard.
What plus wizard? Okay, so I am an expert wizard, so it's going to be a +6. So I'm rolling at +10. That is a 17.
17. Yeah, it is definitely magitech. It is definitely some advanced version of the gauntlet that you have not seen before. I think upon inspection you can see that inside there are what appear to be some sort of like cilia, kind of like little nubbins inside there.
Is this
uh,
the sort of thing that would, like, basically you put it on and it's basically going to bond to me?
I think that's what the vibe you get. But it
Okay.
does, like, it is uh, you don't see any what's the easiest way to say this. It seems like a very powerful and useful item, and perhaps the only drawback is that you can't take it off once you put it on.
Okay. With this basic, I mean, again, game mechanics, would this thing basically be a new power that basically am I basically swapping out one power for another one, or would this be an item, or
It would be an item, yeah. If you wanted to put it in traits for some reason, you could. But it definitely is an item. So you could put it in either, whichever one works better for you.
okay. And so this is basically going to be more or less the same kind of interface thing that it says, but probably does more stuff,
But better,
or
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And you could write down write down Black City Interface Gauntlet.
I want cool toys.
Gotta make deals with creepy dudes.
That is literally taking something from my mind.
Mhm.
Yep.
And so that
Yep,
means,
something
and
that was
so
real
and so
useful.
and so in exchange, I am losing the Orange Dream spell.
Yep. And the procedure, like, it is very quick. It feels like he is, it is there one moment and gone the next. Like you walk in a room and forget why you came in the room, like just like that. And it feels like he could have done this at any time to anything in your head, and out of sheer politeness, he has not.
Got it. Okay.
um, do you put the gauntlet on?
I'm gonna put the now that it's over. I look at the gauntlet. I look at him. I, you know, I look at the gauntlet. I look at him. I reach for it. I look at him. Does he? I mean, I assume he, like, gives me a nod.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, it's yours. Do what you like.
I'll put it on.
Um, it's not painful, but it,
It's not painful, but it's not also not particularly pleasant.
yeah, the whatever's inside enters your skin, and you can feel it working its way inside your hand. Um, and there's a moment of kind of like when you get an injection and it's cold inside for a moment. You kind of like feel that, and like when that rush gets to your head, it's almost as if there's like an additional interface over the world. Um, like you have a little bit of like noospheric overlay,
Okay.
just for starters.
Okay.
And he says, I know you have all traveled far. I know that you have made your way carefully from the Citadel to the Sarai to here, and you have not traveled on the death facing passage.
Correct.
The ignored tower where the rebuilder resides is the tower that is seen by those unfortunate travelers going south on the death facing passage. It is the rebuilder's scream that tears their souls from their bodies.
Is the rebuilder basically trapped in the tower?
She is confined there, yes, but unable to leave.
Is when she makes contact with individuals the way that she's contacted with Adoron?
She does not
Is
make contact like that. Those at or near the Sarai will often hear echoes or intrusions when her when she becomes more forceful, but connection is unheard of. It is very dangerous.
Dangerous how?
is she able to project her power through an individual connected in this fashion, or is she going to attempt to use Adoron or others like him to free her? What is the danger we're facing?
Your first question, I do not know. As I said, this is unheard of. To be freed, she would need a body and she would need a soul. I No offense intended, but I do not believe any of your bodies would contain her.
Question. Just as you were just able to remove knowledge from my friend's brain, do you have to take that knowledge into yourself, or like could you, if our companion uh desired it, could you remove the screaming voices from his being?
Uh,
Sever that connection if you wanted that?
yeah, that's a great question. Um, I think this is the first time that he has looked thoughtful, I guess. Um, I have taken the orange dream into myself from your friend as it is useful to me. I would not do the same with the rebuilder, of course, if I could. I'm paid well for my skills. That may be beyond my abilities. I am not foolish enough to have interfered with a demiurge intentionally. Again, no offense intended, but I do not believe that any of you could pay the cost that I would require to attempt something like that.
Fair. Um, Adoron has
Excuse me, sir, I have $900. No, I'm kidding.
add a couple of zeros on that, and maybe we'll talk.
A slight smile formed on his face.
Um, so I will add to what Modon just said and say, um, Adoron has Adoron is seeking a way. Adoron has sought means of quieting the voice or getting it out of his head to begin with. That is indeed one of the reasons we were hoping to try to make contact with that other demiurge to see if that being would be able to help. Sounds like that would also be a bad idea.
I am not as familiar with whatever resides in the uh, Eden Perfect City, what it was called.
Whatever he calls it, yes.
I I am sure that it could remove the connection to the rebuilder from your friend. Again, I would not be willing to pay the cost required to do so.
You seem to have some idea of what the cost would be.
If a being that can make and unmake the world has sequestered itself intentionally, I wonder about the state of its mind is such a small word to use for it. And if it is being intentionally kept there, I shudder to think why.
All right then. Well, thank you for this. Thank you for this information. It is quite a lot to ponder.
I have been seeking the dream for some time. I appreciate your trade. It will make my job much easier.
I can imagine. Um,
Hmm.
I, yes, I hope that I hope to take your advice to heart, and I I hope that this was a good trade for all parties. Time will tell.
Yes, it will.
Good day, and I hope our paths cross again at some point.
And he says, as you turn to leave, he says, um, he says, Modan Fig, you will be tempted, but do not accept. It is also dangerous for you.
Can you be more specific as to what I'm going to be tempted by?
You'll know it when you'll know it when it is offered.
Your aspirations may lead you into danger, and I am not one to encourage or dissuade, merely to provide a friendly, like the least friendly face ever, for advice.
All right. But thank you for your word of warning. I'll try to be on alert for temptation.
Do you find Adoron?
Yeah, I think we'll find Adoron and head back to where we'd been staying.
How much do you tell him?
I mean, I would think we tell him everything. We're pretty
I don't
open
think we're
about
gonna.
everything.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna necessarily hold back, and I think we'll basically, I think we'll fill Adoron in and what Seeker had to tell us. What we need, what a little more of the nature of who or and what the rebuilder is, the dangers, the fact that he has never heard of this happening to anyone else before, and that the other demiurge that's in the floating garden may be able to help, but the price may be very, very steep.
I am not surprised about the price, though of course I do not actually know what it is.
Well, none of us do. I tried to get a
I
bit.
do
We tried to get a better idea of what that price might be, but Seeker is Seeker's words are often vague.
I do not believe that is the issue in this case. I believe the issue is that the seeker is not a demiurge and therefore is not willing to speculate on how a demiurge might price transactions.
There.
This is helpful, though does not make the situation any more secure.
No.
I will also say that I do believe we should abandon, well, I may still seek to speak to the other demiurge, but I think you all should walk the safer path and not become involved in mm, directly involved, for I believe we are all involved indirectly in these matters.
Well, Adoron, you're our friend, and we don't want to abandon you to we don't want to abandon you.
But it is not it is not a good choice to place yourself in a situation where you will have little impact. It is possible the seeker is underestimating all of us, but I think that the seeker is much more aware than we are of the risks. My situation is simply that it is in my nature to try and bridge uh, those who lack an ability to communicate, and therefore this is very compelling. But I, unless you feel a desire to put your souls at risk, I'm not sure that this is. It is perhaps a journey that you can walk part of the path with me, but not all of the path.
That, as usual, Adoron, your words are very wise. We'll go with you as far as we can. We will help you get to where you need to go. But you are correct. That final journey is probably for you to take.
And may be unwise, but it is, I feel, a necessary thing to attempt.
I can only imagine what the burden the rebuilder has placed upon you feels like.
Hmm. I believe this is less about the rebuilder than it is about my own nature. I believe my burdens are my own, possibly to be shared soon with the rebuilder, so perhaps their life will become even more complicated.
Um, Phaedred wasn't sure if that was intended as a joke, but he's taking it that he's taking it as that.
Oh, you have a shiny new thing.
Yeah, I think the way this looks is um so I think like Phaedred like on Phaedred's right hand, um it's like this like skin tight, like dull black glove.
Mhm.
And it's and it almost looks like it is I mean at this point it almost looks and because it basically is. It's like it's bonded to his flesh. I'm imagining just like there's like perhaps like from the like from the center from the center of the hand there's just like a single like thin silver wire that goes up the back of each finger.
Mm.
And likewise in the palm, there's like and on the other side, there's again, there's like a place right in the bottom of the palm. There's like a single silver thread that goes up to each of his finger, ending at like the middle of the pad of each of his fingers, and um and it just looks like it's part of his hand, or it looks like, or perhaps even that one has perhaps even that. And I think it like ends like perfectly, like it's like it like ends perfectly sharply, but it if you were to feel it, there's no seam.
Yep.
Um, it almost just looks like his hand had been severed and replaced by something else. And who knows, maybe that's effectively what has just happened.
Can you make an aura roll for me real quick?
Aura roll?
Yeah.
I can make an aura roll. Let me hop back to my character. What is my aura? Oh, I have a good aura. I rolled a 12 on the dice plus 4 is a 16.
Yeah. Um, yeah, with your new sense, I think you almost notice like connections between people. It's real vague, but like you see something like between the three of you that's like, oh, like you three know each other really well.
Okay.
Man, you have cool magic and cool gadgets. You have all the cool stuff.
Well, it's got less cool magic than I used to.
That's true. I have
Monan,
a radiation gun.
if you
You've
would
got a
like to have
radiation gun.
some,
That's pretty
right,
good.
if you would like cool new things, you can always trade some of your arms away.
Also very true. You definitely can. We know someone back at the Sry who will gladly do that.
Yep.
um, anything else you wanted to before we wrap up?
I'm I, I I think this is a combination like in character and out of character question, which is at with in light of the new developments from this session, are we interested in doing that dungeon crawl anymore, or has this obviated that or do we want to do Adoron's journey to the to try to talk to this other demiurge?
I think we should continue on the dungeon crawl. It's mind-bogglingly small seeming right at the moment. It's just like, but as Adoran would basically say, it is important that we maintain our grounding in the basic experiences of life. This is why we have tea, so we may remain grounded in situations where there is chaos around us. I believe this will help us in our other endeavors. And there is always another day that we can go to risk our lives. Although, of course, the dungeon is a risk of our life too. Perhaps all the days are risks of our lives.
Exactly. I feel like we have a queue of adventures. We might as well take the one that's first in the queue.
The closest one.
Because like we could constantly get distracted from one adventure by another adventure, and then it's
Yep.
distracted from that by another adventure. And
You've got a list on your caravan.
yeah, it's true.
We do indeed. We do indeed.
And that's not all of them for sure.
No, it's just,
Okay.
I mean, they're all equally valid. This one supposedly perhaps could yield us some valuables. So the mole rats say.
Well,
Yep.
and it could yield us something that is not from the current time.
Yes.
Yes.
And that can change the equation a bit. Because as we discovered, facing gerbils, they're not as powerful as we thought we were.
Mm.
Because we've sort of been able to, at least since I've been around, we've been able to skate through combat with the gun and then with Phaedred spells.
Yeah.
And
Which we now have one less of.
right. Yes.
Yeah, that's another thing I might want to do is try to figure out how to acquire, if not that spell back, another because I kind of like from a just from a story perspective, I kind of like I kind of like the idea of not only have I lost the spell, I've lost the ability to learn I've lost the ability to like learn this spell.
Like that one has been, the shape of that spell has been removed from yourself.
Yep. So I cannot learn that spell again. I might be able to learn one that was similar, but
Yeah.
I won't be able to learn Orange Dream again.
Cool.
I would like
Maybe
to
I
replace it
can.
with
Hey.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
like to I would like to learn another spell because right now I'm a wizard with only 3 spells. So
Fair. I'm sure we'll run into somewhere to do that soon.
I'm just a traveler.
You've been wanting to learn magic. Now's your opportunity.
Yeah,
Mhm.
what's your chance?
I don't think anybody in the dungeon is going to
Traveler,
be interested
fighter,
in
wizard.
beans. But I'll try. Hey, you zombies! Try beans.
Zombies might like beans.
You like TV? Why not beans?
Hey,
That's
big
right.
giant rabbit gerbils. You like
You can
beans?
invent TV dinners for them.
Cool. I think the last thing we see is Seeker's caravan going off. And they are headed west.
Mm.
And I think Seeker catches, I guess, Phaedred's eye. And I think the thing that you kind of notice after that, or maybe even recall, that the caravan was not intending to travel west before.
Oh.
And they go west.
So I have a question. I'm going to interpose myself for Phaedred. Now that Phaedred has the gauntlet, does Phaedred perceive Seeker differently?
Um,
oh, that's a good question.
I don't think he does. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Do beans look the same to you?
They look just as delicious.
Even I can tell which ones are the most delicious. Awesome, cool. Let's end it there, and let's do some stars and wishes. We'll start off with where are we in the sheet here? I'll just go by Zoom. I'll start off with Heath.
Yeah, it was fun to stars all around for the usual, just like, man, leaning into our characters, and it's interesting being kind of like a shopping episode, shopping and talking for the most part, but that was fun about it. I liked it. We got definitely some huge story stuff, and big changes with Phaedra losing that spell and getting a cool thing. Oh man, yeah. I, as a player, I am definitely a little scared of the dungeon for the reasons like Adoron says. Like, I don't, I'm got you know, we're not the like these badass warriors who can just like tear through
Not
things.
kicking doors down.
Yeah, I mean, we got the extremely more dangerous than ever gun. Some cool but one less spells. It'd be interesting to see how we deal with it. Um, yeah, wishes is just always me trying to figure out. Yeah, like I'm just trying to figure out sort of like what. I mean, I guess we won't know until we see what we meet, but just sort of like what sort of options do I have in this dungeon other than firing a radiation gun? It's like I'm not sure what else. Like we'll find out, but
I
it's
think traveler is kind of like the stand-in for thief, I think. And
no,
so like that's handy in a dungeon, right?
you would hope, but
Yeah.
be interesting. And just yeah, still trying to map. I mean, I was looking at the leveling up, and I was like, oh, I won't be leveling up for a while. See, I'm like a little over halfway there.
Oh yeah, let's get
Uh,
everyone 300 experience. What, 100 for each week and 100 for the revelation of the death fate.
okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me see what this can do. No, that wasn't it. It was what? Why didn't that level up? What the hell? I thought. Oops. Stop it. I thought I read that level 2 was supposed to be 750. Okay, yeah.
You should be 750. Yeah.
Well, it does. If
You're
I
not
put that into Bashika, nothing happens on the level.
Oh, I don't know if I don't know if the pets auto calculate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess not.
So
It should. Oh well. Nope, I guess not. Oh, maybe yeah, I'll look at it. We'll fix it.
cool. Anyway, so I was thinking of taking Bash. Then that. Okay, wait. You said 300, right?
300, yeah.
I need to do the maths.
There's no formula on the there's no formula on the pets level, so you got to do that manually.
I will do that. Uh, anyway, here's what I was thinking I wanted to do with Bashika when I leveled him up. It's and Mark, you have to help me work this out, or all of you.
Mhm.
This is what I thought would be. I was thinking, in addition to her forager being skilled at foraging, she also develops a danger sense, which
Ooh.
basically gives me like a free hero die on misfortune rolls.
Hmm.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, let me
So in misfortune rolls you'd always be rolling. So when you roll the misfortune when it's your turn to roll the misfortune roll, you'd always roll D20 plus D6.
Yeah, that was my thought.
yeah, let me think about that and see if there's anything similar to that. And if not, we'll cook it up.
Yeah, and I mean the real question is, does it change the way ones work?
Right, right.
Because
I
that's
was
what
poking
really,
around. I never saw. I also didn't see the roll. Didn't see that rule where you can't add hero dice to rolling ones on a twenties. Where I where was that rule? I didn't see that every place I was looking for hero dice.
I will see if I can find it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I actually think it makes the game it's scarier, but it's also interesting. Of course, I have a tendency to take bad
I mean, I'm
experiences.
used to playing a lot of games that allow you to that give you a resource that you can like mitigate the critical
Rewind.
failures,
Yeah.
and I do like having that as an option. I mean, the hero dice are a limited resource. If you throw a bunch of ones,
Yeah.
you know, so if you
I
throw a
mean,
bunch of ones, I mean, if you start the game with only three hero dice and you use, if you're rolling poorly,
but the
and
thing,
you also need to like get some healing in the middle. Like, okay, well, I'm out of hero dice. I hope I don't roll a one down.
but a lot of the most interesting things that have happened to us have happened because of low rolls.
Mhm.
The fact that we have that gun, if I remember correctly, is because we had
Right.
an encounter roll that was low.
I mean,
And
the reason you've got all of this stuff happening this time was
yeah,
just
yeah,
Yeah.
bad roll.
buying a glove.
It would be different if Mark was constantly just killing us for some reason, but that's not how it's working.
True.
Yeah, I'll look around and see what I can find.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was just curious because I mean, I've read both of the books a couple of times. I just didn't remember encountering that.
That's
I'm not
all.
saying that
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you made it up.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
saying that I didn't. I'm just saying that I didn't encounter it, and I
Yeah.
was just curious where it was because
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I can see it both ways because of the
I
things
found it. Oh,
we've talked about how like a lot of times we will roll with ones, but it was nice being able to counteract when it's like your gun's gonna blow up and
Yeah.
kill you.
yeah, yeah,
You know, that was that
yeah,
so I could see
and again, the hero dice are a very limited resource,
yeah,
so
for sure.
you only use them. You only use them when you kind of really need to.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say, although they don't feel that limited with us because we don't use them that much.
Right.
So it's like,
Right.
I think this was the first adventure. I think this is the first session where I never used it, although I would have, although I probably would have for rolling that one. Although I'm glad we didn't because that was, I mean, that was like a really good
yeah,
role playing.
yeah.
The other thing I would say is the bead that you have one of, there are actually three of those in the party, and it might make more sense for Modan to have all three of those beads because of the gun. I'm just saying.
No, here's a valid point. Maybe they're now designated gun
That's right. I
beads.
forgot. Yeah, I forgot I had one too.
You have one and Otokar has one because
Oh, yeah, that's right.
all away.
Oh, we're talking auto card didn't even come into play this time.
Yeah,
I-
I thought about having Otokar meet the Seeker, but I
Oh,
wasn't
geez.
sure that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
Also, hard on Mark.
um, cool, cool.
Uh,
Any other wishes for Heath?
Yeah, all that to say, yeah, just still trying to like I dig the game, but I also find myself just in a weird rudderless sometimes, just with like, what do I want to do? How like even when we were like, oh, what do we do with a week? And I'm like, oh no, there was nothing obvious. I mean, I'm glad I did what I did if we found a cool thing, but it's always yeah, it's just trying to figure out like how to go forward or useful things I could do.
Cool.
Well, see how this dungeon crawl goes.
Yeah.
I'm-
Mike.
Yeah. Big. I mean, stars all around. This is a session where we didn't do a whole lot, but we had some really intense role playing, which I thought was just really, really cool. Big one to you, Mark, for just this like creepy NPC, who was just both like scary and fascinating and intimidating, and at the same time pretty fair. Drove a hard bargain. Um, Hope I'm not going to be totally second guessing, trading trading a spell for this thing, but we'll see what happens. Um, um, Big start at Teal as always. Big start at Teal for how you're playing Adoron. Just I just have it. Adoron's a delight. Um, I'm constantly I'm constantly surprised by some of Adoron's reactions and one-liners, and at the same time, I just find him delightful. Like, oh, wasn't expecting that, but yep, that's totally what he would say. Um, and Modan, the way you were, I loved how we were. I don't think we were exactly playing good cop, bad cop with the weird, creepy guy, but I think we like I found it interesting that we were having the like having like somewhat different approaches with him, which was cool. Oh, and one more star back to Teal for saying that. Oh, you're talking about the rebuilder. I should probably not be in here while you're talking about that. That was very well played. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
As for wishes, yeah, I think I am looking forward to I think I am looking to see how these three weirdos deal with a dungeon.
Anything else? Cool. That's the Teal then.
Um, Stars to everybody. I think this is such an interesting session because I'm glad we followed the failed roll And Mark's doing a good job of not making failure like boring.
He shoot you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is so much more interesting. And it's still, I mean, on the one hand, it like you created change with it.
Mhm.
So in the Shadowrun game that I run, I just arbitrarily decided to take ones and treat them as glitches,
Mm.
and which it's sort of implied, but I take all of them, and my assumption is that they are things that move the situation sideways.
Mm.
Because when I used to play in a group that did a lot of White Wolf stuff, we would take the ones and just make them cancels, which produced some very weird like calculations. I would actually roll fewer dice because if I rolled too many dice, I would end up with a lot of ones. It's just like that's very irritating. But by making them sideways, it creates like changes in the fabric of what's going on. And we've had some wildly weird swings, partly because of the glitches and just partly because of things that the players have done. So I like what you're doing where you're taking, because we're trying to tell stories.
Yeah.
And it's boring if the story is just like, ah, you all died. Okay.
Happens. You die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happens.
Yeah. So, but I appreciate that because like in some OSR games, for instance, that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Um, I love these characters and um Phaedred and Modan. It's just like we're so who we are, and none of us is like I am a perfect fighter. I am a perfect, whatever. We're just like
Cool
I
assassin.
am huh? Yeah. So it makes it so much more interesting because I know if I say something, I know that you're all going to have very interesting reactions, you know. Uh, so stars, and Mark, I'm liking how you're taking this journey into the way too deep territory.
Yeah, y'all are in way too deep.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's very compelling. I mean,
No,
um,
it's gonna be super fun. Depending on, there's a lot of things could happen, and there's some super cool things that could happen. So I'm very curious to see where y'all go with it.
cool. Yeah. I'm trying to be like I've been taking risks in that direction for the whole time or much of the time, but I'm trying not to just be stupid about it.
Yeah,
Because it's easy to just like, I'm just going to jump into the deep pool. Yeah. Oops. There we go. Um, so as far as wishes go, I'm going to name a wish that is a weird wish. I think we need to help Modan figure out his purpose in life beyond being.
yep.
I'm serious.
My wish as
Because,
well. My wish is like find more stuff for Modan to
well,
do.
I'm not sure it's stuff. Part of it is Modan is such a philosopher. And there's a way that beans are, if I can borrow some uh, what am I trying to think of? Well, we'll just go with generic Asian philosophy. Beans are sort of uncarved block. They're sort of poo. If you've ever seen the book, The Tao of Poo, yeah, Taoism, that's what I'm looking for. So in some ways, Modan is very Taoist, and not that he's trying to be, but just in some ways. And the beans are great. They're a lovely philosophical basis, right? Because they're nutritious, but they're basic, and yet they give you a foundation. The thing is, I don't think Modan knows what to do past beans. And it seems like you're sort of searching, you're like, I want to be a fighter, and then you're like, oh, I'm not a good enough fighter, or maybe I want to be a magician. And I understand the temptation with that one. Um, but if there's some way that, and I don't know if you want us to help Modan with their quest for meaning beyond beans, because beans are a good foundation for all meaning. But what next?
That's a good question. I mean, it's also a fun thing to explore because he's definitely, he does have some interest in magic and everything. And there is actually more, in a weird way, more to the bean thing he would like to explore. And again, now sort of like, especially when you first started playing, I know we outlined like, oh, there is this game mechanic where you can set up like a milk run, and that's a very basic thing of like, okay, you did that, and now you're selling beans, you're making some money. And that's cool, but like, I really did sort of have, and still do, sort of have this bigger vision of wondering if there's, a way to work it in. Like, I do want to get more people into beans. And I like if there's something else to do other than strictly the milk run mechanic. Like, well, I
Well,
can save up $10,000 and build another milk run. If there's like
what
something else to do, because
There's
I
a way you
did,
can, if there's a way you can, I don't know, like, I mean, I'm just throwing stuff out there. If you're looking for suggestions,
yeah,
setting up bean farms.
Yeah, I mean, you're at the shell. It's
yeah.
surrounded by farmland.
Because again, like my concept when I thought it was like, I did actually have ideas like there being all these different kinds of beans, like there's sweet beans and savory beans or zinc, and then like maybe be able to like breed new strains of beans. Like well, maybe if I crossbreed the savory and sweet, like we can make a new,
um,
Beans.
kind of and someone was like, like or tailoring it to people's tastes. Was like, I
so
like these, but they're a little, like, oh, well, let me breed a new bean.
I
We
mean,
can
if you
have
want to get
delivered
into
just to
like the
you.
biomancy stuff, like
biomancy, exactly. That's what I was
yeah,
just thinking.
you do some
Maybe
weird shit
Modan
with
need,
your beans.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean
So there,
that's almost
there
like
is
being a
more
wizard.
down that story
Yeah,
path too. But yeah.
I'm gonna make a note of that. And there is something waiting in the wings when you at a certain point something's going to happen with stuff. So
Remember, beware of temptation.
oh yeah, right.
But yeah, part of that was definitely like just my lack of not really knowing how to make any, I only knew the one mechanic, the milk run. But then like when we meet people and I'm like, hey, have you ever heard of beans? Like that's legitimate. Like I'm like, is there some way I can work something here of like,
So I have a question about something, Mark.
Mhm.
Heath has invested heavily in friendship.
Yes.
Is there some way, because he keep like part of his struggle is he's invested in something that because of the game mechanics, it becomes hard to pursue.
Yeah, and I think that's I mean it so each of the three big classes has that sort of well, the wizard has the extra spell book, the fighter has carry extra weapons, and you have make more friends. And I think that is friends being followers or pets or whatever you want. So I think it's collecting more people or animals, and then start putting a couple early levels on them maybe, and then like you've got a bunch of things following you around that can do some cool shit.
But is there
Train that crab.
yeah.
right? And I mean that's possible, but I think what Modan's looking for is more associates. More is what are you looking for, Heath?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a good question because like I think you're right in that like I think the way it differs from the other two classes, again, I'm not super familiar with them, but like carrying more items is just that's more items.
Yeah.
And carrying more spells is just more spells. But like you don't have to then go, oh, well, now I gotta blow all my XP on all the weapons I'm carrying or all the spells. I mean, it's like it's just resources, having more
Yeah.
of them.
I think the difference is, your pets and followers and stuff, like they are narratively yours. Like Audikar is still mine, right?
Right, 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 right.
You said, I want to make Audikar my friend. Audikar,
Yeah,
yours,
Then
right?
he's your NPC to like, and
Yeah.
then you get to say what he
yeah.
does.
Well, and that's good work because I mean, it's partially my fault is I haven't really pursued it much either, other than every now and then I pings in my brain like, oh, I should do something with that because I took friends and I haven't done anything
You're
with
trying to
it.
figure it out. I'll tell you
But I
one.
think, yeah, I was gonna say, I think sort of my initial thought when taking it as in a just being fun and being in line with Modane's character.
Mhm.
Mechanically, I just figured it would end up giving us a bigger party.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh, so now instead of just the three of us, we got like
You got a
eight
party.
of us
Yeah.
down in the dungeon crawl or whatever, because you've got my crab friend and my horse, and we got out of car or whatever. And so,
And we got Fred, who's been here the whole time.
Yeah, right.
or I met in town and told him to come along, but
I would like to propose a mechanical change to bring it a little bit more in line with the other two things potentially. And that is to allow friendship to gain friends through training, not just experience.
Interesting. Interesting. Like
And
being able to train your friends, spending time doing that.
yeah, you spend your time getting to know somebody and they become a friend. And then they, because one of the difficulties is that friendship at the moment can only be bought with experience.
Right.
or at least levels in it. I mean,
Yeah.
like again,
Or I mean, like Adocar is level 4 already, right?
Yeah.
You
right.
can
So that's like, if he was,
people and bring them in.
but then like my counter thought there is, and this don't only applies to Adocar. It's still the way I mentioned it could still be useful in that, like, oh, if I did get two other friends, well, that's two more people we now have in a party who can try stuff and help us out. But specifically with Adocar, I know we briefly thought, oh, he could be a friend, but I kind of thought I was because I mean he's already in the party, so there's no real reason for him to be my friend as opposed to the NPC Mark controls in part, because like I don't feel the need, like I want to control him and be him. Now I'm like, Mark does a great job. He's already an extra person in the party we have.
Yeah.
So I didn't really feel like I needed to take him as a friend.
Because like as a GM, it's a little bit weird for me to be like, okay, now I'm gonna do Adocar's combat turn, or I'm gonna do stuff like he would do if he was in the party. Whereas if he was your friend, you could be like, cool, you're doing that.
Yeah, which we could totally do. Because I mean, again, it's not necessarily all about it's not all about leveling them up either.
Yeah.
Because like I said, he's already useful. He's already same level as me. So it's like,
so if it's narrative control, then the question, Heath, is what kind of extra characters do you want to play? You're sort of playing a polybody.
Yeah,
What's
a good
the rest
question.
of your
That's a good
polybody?
question.
You're like a mini GM. Do you want Umberto to?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
Beans
I
and
guess
soup.
this is a good thought, and I guess really just on our adventures, I just need to keep more of an. And I mean, y'all can help me as well. Y'all can always suggest people, like maybe just always be on the lookout for, like, hey, is this someone we want to add to our?
But it's more a question of
Caravan?
who do you want to play?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it's just whoever ends up
Because we
being
can add
interesting,
NPCs all day long for a variety of reasons, but the question
What's interesting for
becomes,
you as a player to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I definitely dig Adocar for sure. So,
Yeah,
I
and
mean, it's,
one of the again, one of the cool conceits of this system is that Modan isn't getting experience points.
yeah.
You are. So
right,
if something
right.
happens to Modan, like, oh, here I'm gonna throw experience points into
Bring in a new, you
Yeah,
can bring in a
totally.
new character, and like all of Modan's experience points are now in this new character.
Yeah, and same applies to the friends. Like if you're like, oh, I'm gonna play,
Which again is cool in theory. My only, I wouldn't even call it an issue because I don't have an issue with it. Just the only practical thought is like when I was looking at it, again, once you get to our level, when we're getting usually a couple hundred experience per session, and it's going to be another like 3,000 before I level up. So it's like even just leveling me up might not even happen before we quit playing, if that happens, or it's just like
start spending money on carousing, start doing discoveries. Yeah, there's ways to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having fun, but I like all these thoughts for sure for direction and just thinking along those lines more of it's a lot of times it's something I don't even think about until we're like talking about wishes. I'm like, oh yeah, that friend skill I took a while back.
Question about carousing. Actually, I have two questions about carousing. So carousing takes a week?
Carousing is your week action, yeah.
Gotcha. My second question is it permissible to substitute other words instead of carousing, but also say I paid money, like for instance, I spent a week in the library and I pay money to spend a week in the library to gain experience from the library.
So the thing with carousing is that you roll for it, right? And sometimes you're like, oh, I talked to this business guy and he bought my drinks all night. And sometimes it's like I woke up in the gutter painted red and I had a dog. Like,
friend,
which isn't going to happen in the library. Maybe, I mean, depends on which library you go to, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think we could definitely substitute in a different activity as long as it carried the same level of
There has to be consequences
Yeah.
that might happen. Yeah.
Because I like Adoron's not. I
Adoran's not a partier.
mean, Adoron,
Yeah.
yeah, Adoron might sit and have tea with people, but I don't know how dangerous that is.
Right.
Not gonna go out drinking and boozing it up.
Mm-mm.
Cool.
Well, all very good though. All good,
Yeah.
good thoughts and suggestions for sure. I like them.
Sweet. Yeah. Mirror all the stars and all the stuff. Main wish, find more Modan. Cool. Anything else before we stop the recording?
Just reminded me a star for Phaedred for taking the deal because, like, honestly, in your position, I don't know if I don't know if I would have. And I think it is a cool deal in the end.
It was
what
a
you
good
got. Yeah. And then echoing kind of what Teal said about Mark making ones, more interesting. And there's like my example is like, I grew up playing a lot of D&D, which I was lucky enough that I had a lot of really good DMs who could see beyond the rules to do the things you're supposed to be doing as a good DM, like not just giving you experience for killing creatures, but like, oh, you did a really creative thing there. Take some XP for that.
Yep.
And conversely, same thing, it always bothered me when people literally viewed it as like you roll an attack and you missed. Well, it doesn't mean you missed.
Yeah.
Because it's literally like your armor affects your armor class. That your armor is not going to make people miss you more.
So does your dexterity. Yeah.
Yeah. So, things was more interesting when it's like, yeah, you missed, but you didn't like, oh, he clanged off his armor or he deflected it with a shield, interesting flavor things like that, other than just like, you didn't make the roll, you missed, or you rolled a one, you fumbled and dropped your weapon.
Yeah. And the thing that
Because another thing,
like instead of I don't remember where I picked this up, but like instead of you failed because you suck and you dropped your sword on your dick or whatever, it's like you failed because the person who you're fighting is really good at doing the thing, or you failed picking lock because it's an especially clever lock or something, not because you suck, but because it's harder. And I froze, I think. There we go.
Wait, there you go. He's back.
There we go. He's back. Yay.
Short version, you failed not because you suck, but because you were trying something difficult or facing a tricky enemy. Right. I froze again. Oh no.
So, the end. He's back again.
All right.
Yay. He failed not because he sucked.
Not because you sucked, but because the thing that you're doing was more challenging than you thought, or the person you were against is, more skilled than you thought.
Exactly.
So
like
taking away from you is because you're heroes, you're good at what you do.
Yep.
But the situation.
Tell me, how did you completely underestimate the swordsmanship of this hobgoblin you're fighting?
Yeah.
Well, that's why, like, I remember
more interesting because then it's not just like, oh, here's some idiots I couldn't manage to hit. It's like, oh no, these guys are tougher than I thought.
These guys are really this.
One of my,
he just
weirder than I thought.
He just the hobgoblin, who you thought was just a thug who's going to like whack you over the head with a club, executed a perfect Sicilian riposte.
Shit. Okay. Yeah.
one of my favorite things ever when D&D was when Dragon Magazine came out with a crit/fumble table.
Yeah.
So it was no longer just double damage, drop your weapon.
Yeah.
It was like on ones or 20s, you rolled on this table and any number of really cool things could happen. And I was like, that's so much cooler than just like double damage or drop your weapon.
Yep.
The end. That's
Cool. Anything else?
Nope.
Alrighty. Goodbye to whoever's listening. We'll see you next time.